Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us this evening for the winter quarter HuskyADAPT kickoff event. Special thanks to a lot of the design folks that are in the chat tonight that are going to share a little bit about their work later this evening. My name is Alyssa Spomer. I am the student chair for HuskyADAPT. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a white woman with red kind of shoulder length hair wearing glasses today in kind of a dimly lit apartment this evening. And today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we have been working on so far this year and our plans for winter quarter. So hopefully there are ways that you all can get involved with us. So to start out, I want to highlight that closed captioning is available at the bottom of your screen. If you click on the live CC button, you should be able to see those. I would also direct you to our social media and our website, which is departments.washington.edu/adaptUW. There's a lot of great information on those at those locations as well. And this presentation in an accessible format will be available after this discussion this evening. So many of you already probably are familiar with HuskyADAPT, but if we have some new folks in the audience today, our mission is to foster an inclusive, sustainable, and multidisciplinary community supporting accessible design and play technology. So ADAPT in our name is an acronym for accessible design and play technology. And we do this through 4 distinct ways. So we we host toy adaptation events, and we do a lot in the toy adaptation space. We also support design projects throughout the year. We have reintegrated in the last year the Go Baby Go UW program into the HuskyADAPT kind of under our umbrella. And we do education and other events as well. So to step into each of these in a little bit more detail and to highlight ways that you can get involved with all of them, the first is our toy adaptation program. So we know that toys are incredibly developmentally important. They teach things like cause and effect and cooperativity and foster gross and fine motor skill development. But many toys are often inaccessible to individuals with disabilities. For example, I'm showing you 3 toys here: a plush kind of monkey toy, a plastic train with lights, bright lights inside, and a dog toy that moves and sings and barks. But each of these toys requires very fine activation points. So for example, the train has one tiny switch on the bottom of it that has to be turned on and off to actually interact with the toy. And this is not an accessible way to interact with this toy for a lot of users with disabilities. And so in order to overcome those design deficiencies in these original toys, we do something called toy adaptation. So this is a process that involves modifying off-the-shelf toys and adding this headphone jack to them. So a standard headphone jack, and this allows for a broad array of different buttons and activation modalities to actually be plugged in and ensure that the toy can be activated by a bunch of different users. So here I'm showing 4 different examples of switches, including a chin tuck switch, a head tilt switch, a bite switch, and a large button switch. But there are many, many other varieties that exist out there. And simply by adding this headphone jack into the existing circuitry, we can make this toy more broadly accessible. So what do we do in the toy adaptation space? Well, we host the toy adaptation workshops where we actually train novice users how to modify toys, how to add those headphone jacks on their own. And these workshops are typically about 2 hours long, and they're very hands-on and a lot of fun to be involved with. If you haven't already joined us for a toy adaptation workshop, I would highly recommend it. Beyond that, we're also taking all those toys that are adapted at our workshops and distributing them to schools, clinics, and families in the Seattle area and surrounding communities. And this reduces the burden that is currently exists in accessing these accessible toys. Many toys that are adapted exist online, but they're very expensive. Sometimes in the ballpark of 5 to 6 times more expensive than their unadapted counterparts. If you or somebody that you know needs adapted toys, kind of to that same, on that same note, we encourage you to go to our website and request free adapted toys there, and we will distribute them to you in monthly donation events. So just looking at fall of 2021, even amidst all of the unpleasantness happening in the world right now, we were able to continue our toy adaptation program. So we hosted 4 workshops over last quarter in which we taught 57 individuals how to adapt toys. And this led to 19 new toys being added to our collection that will be distributed out to the Seattle area. We also launched the Lead Toy Adapter Certificate Program to help train individuals how to lead others through the toy adaptation process. And I'll talk a little bit more about that certification if you're interested. On the toy donation side, we were able to donate 45 toys out into the community, and these went to 16 different families, 12 schools, and 1 clinic in the area. And we've still got a long list of requests that we are working to fill over this quarter. So if toy adaptation, that sounds exciting to you and you're interested in helping us out with that space, the first way to get involved is to come to one of our workshops. So all of our workshops are a 2-hour one-time commitment, and they don't require any experience, but I will mention that all of our workshops fill on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you're really excited about attending an event, try and sign up as early as you can. And those signups will be available in our newsletter. Our first workshop of the quarter is tentatively planned for January 26th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Of course, we're monitoring current school policies around Omicron and closures associated with that. So we can't solidify that just yet. But once we do solidify it, the sign up for that event will be in our newsletter. Beyond that, as I mentioned, we have this Lead Toy Adapter certification, and this certification is required if you want to be at our workshops and be one of the leaders at our workshops that are teaching new students about toy adaptation. This is a really great resume builder, and it really allows you to join HuskyADAPT as more than just a member coming to these events. You can help kind of take on a leadership role within our club. And the requirements to get this certification are to complete a safety training, which it takes about 30 minutes. It's a virtual training to just go over the basics of toy adaptation. The second requirement is to lead new adapters and demonstrate your skills at a regular workshop. And then the third is to attend a yellow toy workshop in which you're working to fix some of the toys that were unsuccessfully adapted at a previous regular workshop. So once you complete all these 3 things, you'll be able to then lead others through the toy adaptation process. If you're interested in going through this program, we recommend that you've already attended 2 adaptation workshops, just so you can kind of get a feel for how they're run and kind of what the process looks like for adapting toys. But once you feel comfortable to do that, you can sign up to receive the safety training and kick off this certification. So that sign up will be in our newsletter, in our upcoming newsletter as well. So beyond toy adaptation, we also have the design program. Many of you are here this evening. So you all very well know that toys are not the only important item that we interact with on a daily basis that are not necessarily accessible for every user. I'm showing photos here of basic kitchen tools, a cell phone, as well as a kayak. All of these kind of have design constraints in place that assumed kind of a typical user, which excludes a lot of individuals. And so we have a year-long design program as well that kicked off in the fall. And this program spans all all 3 quarters, in which teams in the fall get paired up with a needs expert from the Seattle community that come to them with a very specific accessibility request. And teams in fall quarter research their projects, build a needs statement, and have a meeting with that needs expert. And then they transition in winter and spring quarter to the ideation, prototype development, iteration, and final testing phases. So in the fall, we formed 5 teams that are working on 3 different projects that you'll hear more about. I'm not going to dwell on them too much. So the accessible art project, in which teams are developing ways to make various art forms, whether that's music or painting, more accessible to individuals with disabilities. The second is a remote vehicle project where teams working to modify a ride-on vehicle so that it can be controlled remotely by clinicians or parents. And the third is tabletop game adaptations, where a team is working to design a more accessible version of popular card and board games to promote independent play. So as I mentioned, we formed 5 teams this fall with about 30 students, and they've really started brainstorming and coming up with new solutions to their design problem. These teams have also been attending bi-weekly workshops in which they've learned and developed skills in both research and prototyping. They also got an opportunity to tour the mill this last quarter, which is a makerspace on campus. So if you want to get involved in the design program in winter 2022, unfortunately our teams are formed at this point. We try and form them in the fall, but there are other ways that you can get involved. So just sticking around today and hearing from our design teams that will be providing quick updates on their projects is a great way to participate and support our design program. But beyond that, you can attend a design showcase, which we're hoping to hold in the upcoming quarters, where the teams will present on their project and get feedback from community members. This is a 1 to 2 hour one-time commitment that doesn't require any signups. And as soon as we set dates for those events and kind of solidify things with our teams, these workshops will be posted about in the newsletter as well. The second way to get involved with our design program that is new this year is we are in the early stages of planning both a cadathon and a hackathon through our design program. So these events, if you're familiar with hackathons, they're just basically one-day or half-day events where interested club members and people come together to solve one specific problem and just have place very concerted effort on that one problem for a few hours. So as I said, we're in the early stages of planning these events, but they will likely be 3 to 4 hour one-time commitments, and all of the info, once we kind of set dates and get more information about these, will be sent out in the newsletter as well. So our last big bucket, and one that is that we recently readopted into HuskyADAPT, is the Go Baby Go program. So Go Baby Go UW is one of our sister organizations that we take on a lot of we help with planning and organizing events for them. But Go Baby Go is a national organization that is focused on early mobility. So we know that access to self-initiated mobility encourages socialization and promotes independence, but there are very few options that are available in early development for individuals with disabilities. So the Go Baby Go organization hosts workshops very similar to our toy adaptation workshops. However, instead of adapting toys, they're modifying ride-on electric cars to serve as alternative early childhood mobility solutions to standard wheelchairs. So in these pictures that I'm showing you, you can see these ride-on cars that are battery-powered cars. You can buy them off the shelf at many big box stores. And these cars can be modified. As you can see in this photo, a large button switch has been placed onto the toy that serves as an alternative activation point for this individual to push and move independently. So if that sounds interesting to you, Go Baby Go is working to host workshops quarterly. So in the last quarter, at the fall quarter workshop, the Go Baby Go group was able to modify 10 cars that were donated out to individuals in the community. And this workshop was about a half day long and attended by both HuskyADAPT members and then those within the Go Baby Go UW community at large. So fortunately for you all, they're planning on hosting another event. The date has not been set yet, but they will be doing a winter quarter build. This workshop build will be 4 to 5 hours and it will be a one-time commitment. We will be circulating the information about that workshop in our newsletter. It will also be available on the Go Baby Go website. So you can check out Go Baby Go UW's website at gobabygo.rehab.washington.edu to get more direct information from them. I will also mention that these are very popular workshops. The first workshop filled up super quickly. So make sure that if you're really interested in this event that you try and sign up early for it as well. Some other events that we hosted in winter 2022. So we were able to hear from Dr. Heather Feldner, who's one of the faculty advisors for HuskyADAPT, and she gave a presentation entitled Disability History, Rights, and Contemporary Advocacy. And that lecture, if you missed it, I would highly recommend that you check it out. It's available on our website under the community tab of our website. We also, this last quarter, although they're kicking off this quarter, we launched a collaborative ME plus BioE senior capstone project. So for those of you that are not seniors yet, we're hoping that this year's projects will go well so that we can continue to support this in future years. So keep an eye out for those events, or this once you hit your senior year. Other opportunities for winter 2022, the biggest one that I want to pitch is coming up on February 1st from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. And it is a mapathon with Project Sidewalk. So Project Sidewalk is a project that is coming out of the Makeability Lab. So John Freilich's lab on campus, if you're familiar with his work. And this is really a project that's dedicated to making cities more accessible. You can check out their website either through the Makeability Lab if you Google them, or at this URL that's provided. This event will be, the CREATE, which is another organization on campus, hosted a mapathon last quarter, in which participants at this event just virtually explored the streets of Seattle and identified accessibility issues, whether those were missing curb cuts or cracks in the sidewalk, whatever that looked like. And then they were able to log that information in the Project Sidewalk software, and which can then be used and compiled to create this large database that the Project Sidewalk group is using to guide both development of new technologies that use location-based mapping, and also influence policy on where concerted efforts or governmental efforts need to be made to make sidewalks more accessible. So if you're interested in kind of helping out with this crowdsourcing event and making a real impact in the streets of Seattle, I would encourage you to sign up for this event on February 1st. And that sign up will be available in our newsletter as well. So speaking of our newsletter, if you are not already, obviously you found us here today somehow, but if you're not signed up for our biweekly newsletter, I would encourage you to go to our website, which is again, departments.washington.edu/adaptuw, and click join our email list, which is about halfway down the front page. And we'll send out an email once every 2 weeks that has all of the signups for the events that I listed today, as well as new events as we plan them. So that's really the best way to start getting involved with us regularly. And so with that, I want to briefly highlight the HuskyADAPT team, because these are all the folks that you will be interfacing with on a more regular basis as you're coming to our events or getting involved with our different programs. So feel free to take a screenshot or whatever. We have folks' emails up as well. We also have a team of ambassadors that are really the HuskyADAPT support team. You'll see these folks at a lot of our events as well. They're all very experienced with HuskyADAPT. They're all very adept toy adapters. And so feel free to say hello to these folks as well. They know a lot about HuskyADAPT and have been around for a while with us. And finally, we have an awesome team of HuskyADAPT faculty in the departments of mechanical engineering, rehab medicine, computer science and engineering, as well as George, our independent consultant from the Seattle area. So with that, before I pass it off to the design teams to give a quick update on their projects, does anyone have any questions? Yes, and thank you, Maddie, for circulating. So Maddie Sloan is one of our toy adaptation chairs. She circulated the lead adapter safety training sign up link. So if you're interested in that specifically, you can click that link and sign up to receive the safety training.
And Sidewalk was doing it? It's not mandatory, but it's like you can always go on with your camera.
Does anyone have any questions?
It's for COD. There's going to be potential new members on it.
I know there's going to be a Kahoot. I didn't know like what, like, are we talking to them?
Okay, well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will put my email in the chat. Otherwise, oh, I just sent it to Tom. Sorry, Tom, you already know my email. So feel free to message me directly or connect with us either through our website or on social media. And like I said, I would encourage you to check out our newsletter, which will be circulated at the end of this week. So I hope that you start signing up for our events. So with that, our design chairs, Tom, yes.
Really quick question that I got in the Discord, but I just want to make sure that this is correct. We had a question asking if there'll be a recording of this available for people who haven't come, or if people want to look at this later.
Yes, so a recording will be circulated in our newsletter. It will also be available. We have a tab on our website. If you go to community at the top and then down to videos, we've got a backlog of a lot of cool videos, lecture events that we've done, and the recording of this, as well as the an accessible version of the slides will be made available there. So thank you, Tom.
Awesome, thank you.